Hello, welcome to another episode of Rivers of Faith. This video series, this podcast series produced by the Hudson River Presbytery. And you might have noticed that the last few videos now that we've done have focused on the various grants that exist within the Hudson River Presbytery. These various opportunities that congregations can utilize and take advantage of to really fund their visions, dreams, hopes for things that might lie outside of their budgets and things like that. So, and you've if you've watched some of the or listened to some of the other episodes, you might have heard some examples of what people have done with those monies. So we're continuing on with this mini series of grants and other opportunities by looking at the peacemaking offering, the peacemaking grant that is also available in our presbytery. And to help have this conversation about the peacemaking offering, the peacemaking grant, we have Jennifer with us. And so I'm very thankful that we can have Jennifer from the grants committee with us. And so would you like to introduce yourself, Jennifer?
Yes, hello everybody. My name is Jennifer Rodriguez, and I'm the chair of the grants committee. And I'm so honored to be at this time together so we can learn a little bit about this grant. And as a sense that we can have an understanding of this grant, we need to be reminded of Luke chapter 1, verses 79 to give light to those who are sitting in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide us on the path of peace.
Mm,
Thanks be to God.
amen. I think that's a very fitting passage, Jennifer. That's a very fitting passage. And now, as we take a look at the peacemaking offering, the peacemaking grant, I think it would be fair to say that, well, I guess I should go back to say that, even the Legacy Fund and the Challenge to Change grant, we know that there's still people in the presbytery who don't know about those grants. And so I would even assume that this one is it also falls into that category of funds that people don't really know much about. And so, I think if people would like to learn more about this grant, well, and I should have said this at the top as well, that to learn more about the grants and the applications, that you go and visit the Presbytery website and click that grants tab at the top there, and you'll be able to find these documents as well as the application. Obviously, peacemaking is a part or an aim for this grant. I was wondering if you can maybe share with us some information about the peacemaking grant.
During the year, I hope that during the year you encourage your congregations some applications or some grants that are divided in different portions. Between the presbytery, between the synod, and the general assembly. But there are two special offerings that are connected to this grant, and those are the peacemaking and global witness offering. And these two especially, they support the peacemaking ministries, not just in your church or in your community, but also in the presbyteries, synods, and even the general assembly, right? And there are a lot of work, I guess, at least I hope, because that's basically a call to justice. Uh, Jesus called us to do justice and peace. And of course, that is connected with love. That will help to navigate, and or if you have any program or any event that will help you to sustain that ministry that you are so eager to establish or to continue. um, and there is, that grant in particular cannot exceed the $1,000. So it can be, it can come from zero to $1,000, and can be to one person or project. So
Mm.
also, if you are leading, if you're part in the leadership, also that can, you can also apply for that. So it's amazing that even as a way of being witness and continue being witnesses in this world, we're able to contribute in one way or the other. So peace prevail in the world. That is so much needed right now, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so actually, yeah, I was going to ask you what the maximum dollar amount that people could apply for, and as you said, that is $1,000. And I think what's interesting about this grant, based off of how you described it, is, some of the other grants we looked at, individuals could come to their session with an idea and sort of have that community aspect to it. And it seemed like this one as well really places that emphasis that it's not just a congregation or a ministry that can apply for this grant, but if you're, I'm assuming, a member of a Presbyterian church, and you find that you feel called to do something that really relates to the heart of this grant, that I would assume that they're encouraged to talk to people in their church to get the ball rolling on on an application. Um, and so maybe because I think peacemaking and peacemaking ministry, I guess that could be a broad sort of definition of the scope and work of this grant. And so I was wondering, perhaps maybe if there's something in the application process that helps sort of define what the grant committee is looking for in terms of people who may be interested in this grant.
So uh, so because that's the point of this application, because peace is so broad. We're gonna see the applications one by one, and depending how that well is connected with peacemaking. So the grants committee is gonna make a decision about that. So for example, I can give you examples. If there is an event that you are probably hosting that is related to peace, probably a vigil in relation to all the riots or tribulations that are
Mm,
happening in your community, that can be one way that you can apply. Or probably if there is some kind of training that is related to this particular um, topic piece, and that will help to bring the community and your church and even the presbytery or the denomination together. That's another way. So you can apply for this grant. um, but as I mentioned in the beginning, um, every situation is different, and
yeah.
we in our the grants committee, we take our job seriously. That's our duty there. But I understand at the same time that the times that we are living in are difficult, and we also know that there is so much need of bringing or to make people aware about how much is needed to bring peace uh, in the time when we're seeing so much um, suffering, tribulations, pain, um, and a violent world that we want to convert all of that into uh, peace in the world.
Yeah. So to me, that sounds like, because of the broad sort of scope of peacemaking work, I mean, I would say anyone who's listening or watching, that if you have an idea that you think falls into that category, to go and work on an application, because who knows where that might lead. um, I think then that sort of leads to a couple other important questions, I guess, about the grant process, especially for this one, which is, are there any kind of requirements for people or churches that would be applying for this grant? For example, the like I said, the other couple grants that we looked at required that churches be up to date on their per capita, or that they've had their minutes approved. And um, I guess it's easy to lose track of all of that. So I was wondering if there are any kind of restrictions on that for this one, for example.
So at this time, at the time that you are watching this, there are not requirements to apply for this grant. So
Okay.
uh, take this the advantage of it.
Okay, that is important. So yeah, thank you. So at the time that you on this day, March 16th, so far there are no kind of restrictions like the ones that we've talked about in the past. And so I guess then the second question would be, um, if people were interested about this grant and wanted to learn more, what would be the best way, or if they had questions, I guess, about the grant application process, what would you recommend to people?
Well,
Eh, I guess about the peacemaking one. Sorry.
Definitely. So they can go to our website, to the Hudson River Presbytery website, and the grants applications are there. And you can go if you see that you are able to understand everything in detail that is given to you. So please feel free to just fill out the application and send it. And there are instructions how you can do it there. If you have more questions or concerns, also there is information there in detail. So to the person or the email that you can contact, and we definitely gladly will provide the answers to you.
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Well, I just want to tell you thank you very much for this time. And I hope that you apply for this grant in particular, because there is so much need to spread the good news in relation to peace. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Jennifer, and thank you to all of you who've been watching or listening, and keep following because we'll have another one coming up in this series on grants. And so, thank you for joining us on this another special episode of Rivers of Faith, produced again by the Hudson River Presbytery. And until next time, see you then.